At the peak of the Roman Empire, one man held the lives of millions in his hands. An emperor's word was law across 3 continents, backed by the most formidable military machine on Earth. History shows us exactly what usually happens to the human mind under that kind of pressure. The Caesars succumbed to paranoia, unchecked cruelty, and the dangerous delusion that they were living gods. Marcus Aurelius held that exact same absolute power. Yet we find him in a freezing military camp on the empire's northern front lines, doing something completely out of character for a dictator. He is writing a diary. These scratchings on wax tablets were never meant for publication. They were a private conversation with himself. Instead of detailing his conquests or dictating his legacy, the very first book of this private journal is nothing but a list, a catalog of the people who helped him. He tracks his virtues the way a merchant tracks debts. He believed he was not a self-made deity, but a mosaic built entirely from the specific traits of those around him. To understand how the most powerful man on earth resisted the rot of absolute authority, we have to open this ledger and look at exactly who he owed. Marcus doesn't start his journal by thanking generals or wealthy senators. He begins with his immediate family. He writes that his ability to remain gentle, to hold back his anger and violent passion, is not his own. He observed it in his grandfather, Varus, and copied it. His religious devotion and his preference for a simple, spare diet, he credits those directly to his mother's influence. By actively logging these traits as borrowed, he strips away his own entitlement. Even his serene expression is recorded as a debt, rather than a sign of innate superiority. As emperor, he had uninterrupted access to the greatest wealth and luxury in the ancient world, yet he chose the sparse lifestyle modeled by his parents. The bedrock of his character was built through the deliberate mimicry of his family. It served as his first line of defense against the arrogance that consumed other men in his position. Beyond his family, Marcus looked to his philosophical mentors to construct his mind. They introduced him to the strict discipline of Stoicism. From his tutor Rusticus, he learned a highly practical skill, the discipline to forgive quickly and to reconcile with anyone who caused him offense the moment they were willing. From another teacher, Aurelius, he inherited something much more complex, a concept they called true liberty. This diagram illustrates the Stoic framework of liberty. It is the ability to rely entirely on your internal reason, remaining unshakable in the face of external chaos. For a ruler, this mental architecture was a survival mechanism against war, plague, and betrayal. As a young man, he rejected extravagant Roman lifestyles, choosing instead to sleep on a rough animal skin, reading philosophy by candlelight. For the man who commanded the known world, liberty meant achieving absolute immunity to his own power. When it came to the mechanics of ruling, Marcus modeled himself after one man above all others, his predecessor and adoptive father, Emperor Antoninus Pius. Antoninus despised court politics. Marcus watched him aggressively shut down sycophants, entirely repressing the flattery that usually surrounded the throne. He also observed his father's willingness to listen. Antoninus would patiently hear out anyone who had an idea for the common good, paying zero attention to their social rank. He showed Marcus how to handle the massive wealth of the empire. He enjoyed it without pride when it was there, but never felt the lack of it when it was gone. Antoninus proved that to govern effectively at the very top of the human hierarchy, you have to deliberately strip away the pomp and operate with clear, unpretentious vision. Marcus closes this first section of his diary by looking upward. He thanks the gods for the sheer luck of having been surrounded by good family, capable teachers, and loyal friends. He realized that his character, the only possession that actually mattered, was not his own invention. It was a gift, assembled from an interconnected network of the people around him. We live in a culture that worships the myth of the self-made individual. We are told to build our own brands, to forge our own paths, and to take all the credit. The ancient text reveals a different reality. We do not build ourselves in a vacuum. We are constructed entirely by the virtues we choose to absorb from others. If you were to sit down tonight and write out your own pages, who would populate the first book of your ledger? True strength and independence do not come from isolation. They come from the daily, humbling recognition of exactly how much we owe to the people who made us.